So I have kind of a lot of stuff to talk about today. I made a whole list, but
oh, cool. That's good. I mean,
well, it's cool and it's not cool. I just, I felt like I really talked a lot last time. Although once I was recording, I didn't feel that way as much. I'm like, I let Coury talk more than I thought I did.
Yeah, I don't mind. I've been like in this like working. I've been working on work.
Yeah.
Like my real work, not
Yes.
like YouTube or anything like that. I've been having to like render out all kinds of graphics and stuff, and there's a lot of different shows, and I have like each day is a new show or two shows, and I've had to like recreate certain graphics or like make changes, and I'm like I've had to have been on call at all times like for these because they're live shows, and I needed to be able to make these changes right away until the show is over for the night. So I've like been very focused on that, and I've had little time to think about anything else.
Yeah. Well, at least now you get to do this. Take a break.
Yes. Well, I mean, like I said, I said it before we were recording. Yeah. I'm recording this within the on the work account on my own computer.
Yeah.
So I have two separate accounts. I have, I created. I have one that's like my own. It has all my Premiere and everything like that. And then I have a login for work that I log into to switch into when I'm working on work stuff that uses all like their serial numbers and stuff for Premiere and like all my Adobe stuff and like Microsoft Teams and all this other stuff. So all that stuff, I'm recording it in Audacity on that desktop right now, like in that user mode in case anything comes in.
Yes.
So I'm just sitting here like, hopefully we'll be able to make it through this whole thing without any issues.
If we have to have an interruption and we have to stop temporarily, I think it's okay.
Yes.
So this was not something I was planning on talking about, but just the stuff you said just reminded me of this, and it's not really a conversation topic even, but yesterday my wife and I went out to lunch here in town, and we're sitting there, and the room of the restaurant we were in is also where the bar is. Like there's a dining room, and then there's but I think the dining room's not open for lunch because not as many people come, so we're sitting in this room, and we're sitting in a booth, but just to my right, across the walkway is the bar, and then above the bar are like 4 TVs, and like they were all tuned into like sports. They weren't all on the same channel, but 2 of them were on the same channel, and it was some sports talk show that I didn't catch the name of the show or anything, but it just caught my eye that all their on-screen graphics. Because you watch like some kind of like roundtable sports show, and on the bottom of the screen it'll say what they're talking about.
Yes.
And all of the text that was on screen for the whole show was in Comic Sans.
They didn't have the font, and somebody said if we don't have the font, default to Comic Sans. Like it was probably a disgruntled employee's way of getting back.
I think it's like this part of the style they're going for with the show, but it's just like that. Like that font is sort of famous
for being bad.
Yeah, like of all the fonts you could pick, like somebody over there was like, I only use Comic Sans, and then nobody else was like, oh wait a minute, no, you don't want to do that. Like that made it out. Like from New York City, I'm guessing, all the way out to California, Comic Sans, and everywhere in between.
Well, you got to admire their, like their commitment to using it then, if that's the case.
It just seems like they were trying to come off like, oh, look, we're all like casual and cool. Like we're not going to use one of these stuffy fonts,
Yeah. But instead it comes off as like, we barely care.
Yeah. Yes. But anyway, that's not
what people think about when they see this.
See, now I have to write down Comic Sans because that wasn't on the list even. Yeah, no. So since last time I was talking so much about myself, just because my trials and tribulations with COVID, which by the way I'm still going to have to keep using the cough button today. I wanted to talk about you a little bit more and just find out how the camping trip went and the kayaking
Yeah.
And then, well, after that, we'll talk about the baseball game. But like, how was the camping and the kayaking?
Dude, camping was fun. It's such a mixed bag, I think, going camping now, because when you're taking kids, like it's fun, but really, when I go camping, like I just want to get a little messed up and sit around the campfire and BS, and you can't really do that as much with the kids, and especially since we've like crammed in quite a lot of different things to do while we were there. It feels like you're constantly moving and you don't get a chance to like really just sit back and enjoy it.
Did you guys go with anybody like else, or was it just you guys?
No. It wasn't even that far from here. Okay. It was like 45 minutes away. And we had just gotten a big tent, which was enormous, by the way. My wife bought this. It is like, she said, it was $150, but it was like normally like $250. And this thing, it's like an apartment in there. It's so big. I mean, and it was not very fun to set up, but now I think that I could set it up pretty easily. Someone is at the front doorbell. Thanks, Alexa. But it was nice, and my wife is a planner. Like she over plans like everything. I mean, like she gets it from her dad. Like her dad is very much like very regimented in like, hey, we're taking a trip. Here's the things we're going to do. And sometimes it almost feels like there's no time to even enjoy what you are doing because you're already like thinking about like, oh, what are we going to, we got to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to be back in time from this thing that we're currently doing so that we can make it to the next thing? And I've always been the like, hey, whatever, I just want to like hang back and just like, like maybe I'm not always on time with stuff. And sometimes I'm maybe a little bit too laid back on everything, but I don't know. It's always been, she's the planner. And at this point I just say, you don't even need to tell me, just plan the stuff.
Oh yeah, you should.
We'll do it.
Does that go over well when you say that? Because like,
yeah, well, I think it does now. I just had to be honest about it, saying, because now she's already saying, oh, this is what we want to do next summer.
Oh wow, all right.
And I'm just thinking like, listen, I don't have the capacity in my brain to consider like think about what I'm doing for some random week next summer. Because she wants to do a road trip type thing where we go to like Yellowstone or something like that.
That'd be cool.
It would be. And it's just, I can't think that far ahead intently.
Yeah. You're talking about next summer, like a year from now.
Next summer.
Yeah,
like
I agree. Like,
over a year from now, really.
I might not even be alive next summer. Why are we even having this conversation right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, maybe... what is it? Old Faithful will erupt and bring an end to like all civilization on Earth.
Well, let's hope
something.
Not. Let's hope not.
Yes, we're definitely hoping that that'll happen. But so I'm a lot of times I'm just like, all right, tell me where I need to be.
Yeah.
Or tell me what we need to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I guess when we're doing something, I will run into situations where it's like, oh, well, why are we doing this? But then I don't really have any ground to stand on.
Yeah, you should not say
because
that.
She's like, well, you told me not to tell you about it or go through everything with you. So like you can't sit here and complain about it now that we're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I struggle with, but I'd rather just not think about stuff and occasionally do things that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Than to think about things that far in advance.
Yeah. I mean, I was asking how that went over when you said that, just tell me where to be. Because, I think my wife tends to be not, it sounds like not to the extent your wife is, but I mean, like if we're going to go on a trip usually, especially if we're paying the money to like fly overseas or something, she wants to have a list of like, she wants to extract maximum value out of that vacation. Like we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And like, I'm not like that, like at all. Not that I don't necessarily want to do those things, but like I'm perfectly happy. Like let's go to some other country and just like hang out. You know?
Yeah.
Like if you're in Paris, for example, like yes, you can go to all these museums and you can go to the Eiffel Tower and you can go to the Palace of Versailles. You can do all that stuff. Or you can go sit at an outdoor cafe and drink some coffee and just kind of like hang out and, you know,
figure out what you're going to do when you feel like it.
I like soaking up the atmosphere.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, if all you want to do is go to the
I mean,
museums
I would have a
and
list
stuff,
of certain things. Like, here's kind of some of the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I will schedule those things, but it's not like, here's what we're doing every single day for this trip.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather just hang back and be like, hey, you know, it's like, we don't feel like doing, going on a hike today. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, oh, we got to hike. You know, I can't drink too much tonight because I'm going on a hike at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning or something, or 8 a.m. or something like that. You know, it's just,
yeah,
that's just the way I am. And sometimes like so I think that there was a point where maybe my wife like let go a little bit, but then, you know, once we had kids, it's like, oh, I want to give these kids like the best possible experience and like to experience as many things as they can, which is like super admirable and great, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she does it because I think that if neither of us planned anything, we wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe in a way, like that's the best outcome, where it's, you know, if there's no planner in the relationship, then nothing gets planned and nothing happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. I think just sometimes the problem I run into is that, you know, my wife sometimes I think takes my attitude to mean that like I just don't care. You know,
right? I
and
mean,
it's not that
here.
it's not that I don't care. It's that like I just want to go and just like I don't need to feel like, you know, if everything hasn't been planned out ahead of time, then like what are we even doing? Like I'm just excited to just go somewhere and just be there.
Right. It's not a waste to just go and figure it out when you're like when you're there.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, like my wife will think like, oh, this is a waste. Like we're just like wasting our day.
Right. Yeah.
Doing this thing.
Because my wife would be like, yeah, we paid money to be here. And like, what are we doing? And I'm like, we're hanging out, man. We're like taking it all in. Like that's a thing, you know?
Yeah.
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 But I mean, she's cooled down. She's calmed down with that quite a bit. She's come around, you know, we've each come around a little bit to the other person's way of thinking, you know, which is good.
Yeah. Well, what happens, I guess, is that you eventually just wear each other down. Yeah. Wear each other down and be like, I guess that this is what we'll do. Yeah. And, but you know, it was good. We ended up we were supposed to come back on Sunday morning, but it was supposed to thunderstorm and everything. And my daughter doesn't like thunderstorms. So we came back, we broke everything down and came back like that night, which was fine. I mean, we spent all day in these kayaks and, it like, I love kayaking, like going down the old, is it the Little Miami River or the Old Miami River? Or
you asking
like
me for?
Here. I don't remember it. I mean, that's for the viewers or the listeners.
Right. Yeah.
It's one of those two things. And, you know, you get in the kayak and it's like a 6-mile trip.
Oh,
and
wow.
you basically go as fast as you want.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got two-person kayaks. Previously, when we'd gone, well, the first time we went, it was just my wife and myself. And the kids were at their grandparents, and it was my wife's birthday, and we said, let's just try this out. Had a great time. Last year we went, and a bunch of friends went, and I got a kayak. And my daughter rode in the kayak with me, and my wife got a canoe, and my son rode with her. So this time we got two-person kayaks, and it was fun. It's fun. It's not when the 2-person kayak. There's no real backrest, so you kind of feel like a little creaky after you're done.
Yeah.
but all it does for me now is that I wish that I could like just go back with my wife and just like have us spend the day, like, because you're going down this river and there's like a lot of people, like there's some people with kids and there's other people without kids, and the people without kids, they're like just drinking and getting high and just having a good time, like taking as long as they want to go down this river, and there's like stopping and getting out and just like kind of floating around and drinking another beer, getting like swimming a little bit, and I mean that sounds amazing. Like that's just what I want to do is like, because even the first time when my wife and I went, we didn't drink or anything during it, because we didn't know what to expect, and now we know, and I'm like, I just want to. It would be just fun to go with friends and like with no kids, but with friends, and we just go down and somebody like. Bring some drinks and everyone just floats around and gets sunburned and messed up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it still sounds cool. I don't think I wouldn't be down with a 2-person kayak, but other than that.
Well, when you're just going, I guess when my kids get a little bit older, then we can all
That's what I was going to say. Like if your kids are teenagers, it'll be,
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my daughter could do it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I made her do most of the work anyways because I just wanted her to exert herself a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So you ended up coming back on Saturday night is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my daughters don't like thunderstorms, but we were supposed to
mentioned.
have thunderstorms that night, and that probably wouldn't be very fun being in the tent, especially since whenever we have like thunderstorms in the house and she comes down to the basement.
Oh, really? Wow. All right.
So if we're like intense, like, well, maybe that would help her get over it. But
Maybe.
So we packed up and came home, and then it ended up not raining or thunderstorming at all. So
what's your daughter's opinion then on that Imagine Dragons song? Because she likes Imagine Dragons, right?
Yeah, I mean, she knows, she likes the song.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Well, I just figured maybe she'd be like, I don't care for the subject matter of this song. So she's not going to listen to that one. Okay, but so then Sunday you went to the Reds game.
Yeah.
And we had talked about, the whole thing with the pitch clock, kind of speeding up. So I was curious how, could you feel the difference? And
Absolutely. It was really fun. So the after school program that my kids are in, the last couple of years they've given away free, they have a free outing to a Reds game.
That's nice.
And it's like in the nosebleed section. It's like we're sitting in section 511, so it's up way high.
Yeah, and the fifth deck.
Yeah,
no,
I guess.
That's not a thing. There's not 5 decks at baseball games.
But we just walked over there. We walked. We drove down to the Newport Levee, which is, there's like a movie theater and like bars and restaurants and everything down there. And then we walked across the bridge, and then we walked right to the stadium. So it's right there.
Yeah.
And we got there, and it was already a little bit into the game. The game had been going for like a half an hour, and it was already like the third inning.
Yeah.
And and we get there and enjoy like how the game was over in 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on moving, and it was fun. It's fun. I love going to sports games like that, even if I don't even love the sports.
Yeah.
Like itself, it's just there's something like really awe-inspiring about being inside of a stadium like that, where it's like it feels like the air is different.
Yeah.
It has like this open air like feel that you just don't have like walking around like outside of the stadium. But it just it has like a different feel to it.
You guys bring your gloves when you go to a baseball game? Anybody? Any of you?
No. I mean, I need to get a baseball glove. I think I told you.
I thought you had one.
While.
I thought you and the kids were playing catch.
So the kids have them.
Yeah.
But I don't have them because getting a baseball glove, they're more expensive than you'd expect. I mean, they're like $70, $80 for like a
decent
like a half decent one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty expensive for something like that. So what I've thought about doing is just going on Marketplace. I could find one that's like is cheap.
I was going to say, just if you buy a used one, it's already broken in for you also.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I don't even remember where I got my glove, but I got it used, like, yard sale or something.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I think I need to do. And I've thought about doing it a whole bunch. I mean, we've been having fun just going outside and, throwing the football around. My daughter's getting pretty good. It's not a full-size football, but she's getting pretty good at, like, throwing the football around.
Yeah.
And cool. Catching it. And considering that, she was, like, afraid of it, I think, at first. Now I'm, like, I'm getting better, too. But I'm, like, throwing it pretty far to her, and she's, like, able to, like, run and catch it. It's been really fun. And, I've told you, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it on here, but, my parents split up when I was less than a year old. So this is not something I really did, like, with my father.
Yeah.
So it's just been kind of a neat feeling, and I've been learning a bit, too, about it. Like, as, like, practicing and, like, learning how to throw, like, at least a smaller football, like, pretty good, even though I never really knew how to throw it completely properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my son, he does it too, but he has this tendency, I think, and I've been trying to tell him, like, don't worry about it. That if he throws it, like, badly one time, he's like, oh man, that was horrible. I'm sorry about that. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like, you just pick it up and you try again. You don't have to, like, apologize every time. So he's getting better at just, it is what it is, without feeling like he's like messing up in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I got.
Yeah. Hey, I know this is kind of early in the show for this.
Mm-hmm.
The show, of course, being episode 32.
I was gonna say
of Here's My Question for You. But I think this is an appropriate time for this week's Does It Slap or Should We Eat It?
Okay. I would play the song right now. You're going to have to put the song in separately because I just realized that my Steam Deck profile is different from when I'm logged into my work account.
All right. Just be quiet for a second. We'll both play it in our heads, and then it'll be the right length of time. All right? And let's start it now.
Does he slap? 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 Should we eat it?
Okay. I played the one with the glass breaking at the end in my head.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. These three things are related once again. And I mean, to me, one of them is probably way better than the other two, so maybe it's an easy one. But would you rather catch a home run at a baseball game, catch a drumstick at the end of a concert, or catch a T-shirt fired out of one of those T-shirt cannons at, like, a basketball game?
Dude, this is a really good question. I mean, I instinctively go towards, like, the drumstick.
That's what I figured you would do.
But it really comes down to how much I...
Depends on what band you're seeing, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I was, like, catching a
Imagine Dragons drumstick.
Or a Creed drumstick.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh.
Yeah.
If I caught something like that, I would immediately just, like, probably hand it to somebody who is probably a bigger fan than me.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, the T-shirt kind of comes down to the same thing. Are you, like, on spring break and, you're, like, at a big, like, outdoor party type thing and someone's going through, like you think about the old MTV spring break.
Yeah.
Like, it's like craziness.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking more like a basketball game, but I mean, I was non-specific, so whatever, we have that. Although I'm not sure if it's working anymore, but here on campus, they had like a pneumatic T-shirt / tube sock, like bazooka, right? And so you'd put some T-shirts in there, and then it would get charged up with a compressor, and they would just shoot it into the crowd. People would catch. And I caught a pair of tube socks when I was a student, and I still have them. So,
how often do you wear them, though?
Well, I don't wear them anymore because they're worn out. But they were my lucky test socks when I was a student.
Oh, okay.
And
that's really cool.
And you can totally look at my transcripts, and you can see the bump. Like, as soon as I caught those socks,
Everything
getting
started
better.
going really good for you once you
Yeah.
got those socks.
Yeah.
We'll talk about those afterwards.
About socks.
No, just about like I guess maybe some superstitious things that you have.
Oh,
Like, do you
I
like
have a-
always have
I have a
like
lot
you're
of
afraid
those.
to throw away or like get rid of? Like, I'd be curious to see if what you have.
I'm just very
in terms of that.
superstitious in general, but yeah, we'll talk about that. Man.
Even though I'm not a huge baseball fan, I feel like it would be more exhilarating and exciting to catch a home run.
That's what I think.
Like, I mean, I think that I would probably be most excited by that, even if I barely care or whatever. And it's another situation where I'd probably hand it to somebody who
no, you give it to
really
your,
wanted it.
You give it to your kid. That's what you're supposed to do, or your wife.
Yeah.
If you go to a baseball game with your wife, catch the ball.
Yeah,
hand it to your wife.
I think that's more exciting. Just like, if it's something you don't care about, to give it to somebody who really cares about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of like that in general, where I just rather give something to somebody if it's like something they like really want.
Yeah.
For instance, like I told you a while back, like I got like a new audio mixer, and I still have this other mixer, right? This like Mackie mixer that's like only a couple of years old, and it's pretty good. And this used electronics place opened up pretty close to me, and like, oh, we give you cash for this. And this mixer was like nearly $300. And I brought it in there, and I'm like, oh, so I mean, what will you give me for this?
Yeah. All right.
Like,
I have a number in
expecting-
my head, so I'm curious how close I'm going to be.
Yeah, so it's like it sells for like $270.
Okay.
New.
Yeah.
And I would assume that they would probably sell it used for $200.
Okay.
And then they would give me like, I mean, I wish there was more than like half of what they would sell it for, but that seems to be the thing that I discovered the last couple days.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we can give you like $40-$50 for this. And I'm like, there's like absolutely no way that I'm going to give this to you, for one.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'd rather just give it to somebody
Right.
instead. I just give it
I
to
mean,
somebody
you're in a
who's, like,
position
gonna
where
use
you
it.
can do that, though. Like some people might need the 40
absolutely,
or 50
100%,
bucks.
yes. But I mean,
And that's who those
for my
businesses
use,
are.
I was like, no, I'm just going to keep it.
Yeah.
And I said I'd just rather give it to somebody
Yeah.
that I think would be able to use it.
Yeah. I mean, 40, 50 bucks, that's definitely far too low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they. It's probably one of those situations where they think that something is. The person, whoever's coming in to like bring this stuff in, like really might not know anything about it,
Yeah.
I guess. So they typically like lowball, and they said, well, what was like the number in your head? I'm like, well, I mean, it sells for $270. If you're like going to sell it for $200, I mean, I'd hope for like at least $100
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
And I probably would have considered it at that point, but there's no way that I would do it for
Yeah.
less than that. Like less than half of what the number I had in my head. I'd rather, sell it on Marketplace or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's part of the point of places like that, though, is that you're not having
You don't have to.
You're not having to do that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, do you ever sell anything on Marketplace?
No.
Okay. Well, it's
But I have lots of
Really,
stuff that I need to sell, but I just don't want to deal with like other humans,
yes.
which is like, again, that's what stores like that are for, is like, here, you deal with people. I don't want to.
Yes. I think it's nicer to put things on Marketplace when you say this is free to whoever wants to come get it.
See, we talked about this before already, but like, I don't ever do that. Even if I'm going
Right.
to give something away for free, I put a dollar amount there. Because there's people out there who will take anything if it's free.
Oh, yes.
And then
Yeah, but,
it's not going to somebody that's going to use it. And then you might as well just throw it out.
Well, we had this old, like a single bed and box springs that we've like had. We tried to give it to like a shelter.
Yeah.
And
they
the
don't
person
want-
just kept on putting it off. And eventually we're like, listen, we've had this thing sitting in our garage for over a year now. And then, my wife put it up and said, this is for free. And she got like so many responses right away from people that like needed it.
Yeah.
So it was gone like pretty much immediately. We were going to give it away in the first place.
Yes.
So I guess that's where it, that's where it was, we were going to give it away. So might as well just give it away to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not like we didn't try to get rid of this stuff.
I understand.
Like go through the proper channels, I guess, or give it to somebody who we know it would be,
right.
would get some use out of it. But it sounds like the people who took it will get some use out of it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just very curious now, since you mentioned the whole superstition thing, like what you wanted to.
Well, I mean, there's just certain things that I like. A lot of times, it's things that's on my keychain. Like I still have my childhood house key on my keychain.
Oh.
Because I think, like, what if this is the only thing keeping me alive? If I took this thing and took it off my keychain, put it,
yeah,
or like lost it or whatever, like what if that's the only thing that's keeping me alive for this long?
Is it a rabbit's foot? Because then, I mean, that would make sense.
No, it's just the house key. But it's something that's been with me for so long that I almost feel like I cannot. If I take it off there, it's going to be. It's probably going to be a bad time.
It's probably not a good idea to do that.
Yes. So
why
that's
even
the number one
tempt
thing.
fate? You know.
Exactly. It's not hurting anybody to keep it on there, and I can look at it and be like, this is the house key that I've had for, 40 some years.
Yeah.
Or not that long, but 30 some years at least.
Yeah.
But I mean that is the main thing. But I think about that a lot, where if I've had something for so long that I almost feel like I can't get rid of it because, like what if I'm only where I'm at because I've kept this thing with me?
I mean,
for so long.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's not any more ridiculous than any other superstitious activity. So.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you have like certain things that you do like do you have like objects that you're superstitious about, or do you just have like tendencies of, you're gonna, like you only do certain things a certain way, because if you break that,
right,
like if you're like had like a lucky streak or something like that, you don't want to do it differently. I mean, besides those socks, I mean, you could never throw those socks out, right? You feel like you could never get rid of them.
I mean, I could, I guess at this point, just like, I don't know, they're, sentimental. It's, it's not a superstition thing. It's a sentimentality thing.
But what if, what if having those socks in your life still are the only reason you still like have a job? Because that's like one of the things that help you get that job.
That's just a dangerous mental road to go down.
I know.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think for me in general, it's just like the things that like are sort of people get the well-known superstitions, to me, it's like, well, how did those get well-known in the first place? And what do people know, or what do people know then that we don't know now? Right. So like, just as an example, like I don't want peacock feathers in my house. I don't want pictures of peacock feathers in my house. Like, my wife has seen things. Oh, that looks nice. And I'm like, nope, peacock feathers. Forget it.
What does that have to do with?
It's the peacock feathers have the evil eye on them.
Oh, okay.
So you don't bring the evil eye into your house.
Yeah.
So, duh.
But what about on your streaming services?
Well, I think that's different because that peacock logo does not have the evil eye on it.
Okay.
But I mean, NBC is never going to change their logo. But if they did, I'd have to reconsider things.
If they put the evil eye on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they had. I mean, did the logo ever like have the evil eye on there though? I wonder.
I mean, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about that logo.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about the peacock logo. Like,
do you?
I mean, just not the actual like word peacock, but like the NBC logo.
Yeah, I understand. You think about
I can't look at that and not see like the lasers making it and the beginning of the NBA on NBC music.
Oh yeah.
I mean, is the the NBA on NBC, like, is that one of the most iconic jingles of all time?
I mean, it's funny because, like, how many years has it been since that was used? A. B. I've never
Wait, they
been
don't use
somebody.
it anymore?
No, I don't have NBA on NBC anymore, do they?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
But B, I don't watch basketball really for reasons I like basketball in theory. I just don't watch it. And those two things being said, the minute you said NBA on NBC, the jingle loaded right up in my brain.
and not even like the main part. It's always like the build up to it also.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it doesn't just have.
Who was
like
it? Was it John Tesh?
No.
Was it John Tesh that wrote that? I think.
Yeah.
Did you ever read that sort of thing? It's not an urban legend because it's the truth, but like that jingle came to him
in his sleep, right?
No, I from what I read, he was in the middle of like a trip. Like he was at the airport or something, and that jingle popped into his head, and so he called. This is like, you know, a long time ago. So he called his own house so that he could leave a message on his answering machine to himself, like singing the jingle into the phone. So imagine if he hadn't have been able to get to a payphone. Like, what if he had been on the plane and he was flying cross country, and like 5 hours later he was like, I forgot it. We never would have gotten the NBA and NBC jingle.
And the world would be it would be worse off for it.
Yeah.
I think.
But I mean, because I know like NBC quit showing NBA games, and unless something has changed and A, it's back, and then B, the jingle is back. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I can't really comment on that because I haven't watched an NBA game in 15 years probably.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's something about that song that I will never forget it. And, you know, I can't look at the NBA or the NBC logo and not think of that.
There was an NBA on NBC game, wasn't there, on PlayStation and N64? Does it have the jingle? It must.
It's gotta. Yeah. I mean, it's like straight up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the sequel to NBA Jam. I think that's what they did.
Oh, I should check that out.
That's what Midway did after they did NBA Jam.
Man, I'm drinking this lemonade that I made.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving me heartburn, dude. Like, it's too high octane lemonade. Like we buy the like 1 liter bottles of lemon juice from Costco.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like, you know, however much, and we just went to Costco yesterday, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. But so when we needed more lemon juice, we bought, and they come in a 2-pack. So you're getting like 2 liters of lemon juice. And we had a bottle in the fridge that had however much it had left at the bottom, of the bottle. And it was like a little bit too much, but I want to get the bottle at it. I have this thing where if there's anything in my cabinet or in my fridge that's like almost gone, I want to use it up and throw away the container. Mm-hmm. Like I take
right
great satisfaction out of that for some reason.
I do too.
So there's lemon juice left in this bottle. I used it to make a pitcher of lemonade, and I kind of knew I'm like, I think that's like a little bit too much lemon juice. And but that was yesterday, and so today's my first time drinking it, and like this needs to get watered down like badly.
I totally feel you on that. And just like if you have like a little bit left on something, you just want to get rid of it. Yeah. Either you just like drink it right then, but you know, I mean, I wonder if it's something that everybody does as a kid. But my kids like will always like put bags of chips back with like crumbs in it.
Oh yeah, I don't ever like anytime if I have if I have the 2 options, like if I open the fridge and I want to have something to drink. Mm-hmm. And if I choose option A, I'll use up the rest of something, and option B won't. That's the deciding factor. Just because then I get to take that and go like throw away the container in the recycling bin. Great.
I mean, as somebody who has always like struggled with their weight, you know, I'll say like, oh, you know, like this, we still have like half this birthday cake left. I'm just gonna like eat a bunch of it tonight to get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you ever feel like that, where it's like you want to get rid of the stuff that you know is like really bad for you, so you're just gonna
I mean,
You know,
yeah, because
make it a
there's
point to at least have it every night until it's gone. Or,
yeah, I mean, there's certain things that normally we wouldn't have in the house because it's bad for you, and so like, yeah, let's hurry up and just eat it. And get it out of here so that life can go back to normal.
Yes, it's throwing off your equilibrium just having it in the house.
Yeah.
Do you have anything like that? I've told this story, I think, on our stream and everything, but when you have certain things in your house and you're like, I just need to get this out of the house, or else like makes you feel like weird having it in the house, or just like if it's food, it's like I don't feel weird having food in the house.
Yeah. Well, like
where I was going with this is
Yes.
that it makes me think about when I was a teenager. I rented the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh.
On VHS, and I had, as soon as I watched it, I had to return the videotape to the rental place because I felt dirty having it in the house.
Yeah, I get that.
I think I talked about that when Dustin was on one time, when he was on here with us.
I mean, I don't have anything like that about that, but I do with food. Like just because last Christmas, my wife just came home with like so much food from her office, like. Mm-hmm. We both work on campus, but I just work in a little research group with, not that many other people. And we don't really mess around with like giving each other stuff, for Christmas, which is fine with me. I don't need anything.
You just rather buy the stuff that you want.
Yeah. But like where my wife works, like, I made all this toffee or I made these cookies and she just came home with like tons and tons of stuff that was all delicious, but was all like horrible for you. And I was like, we got to get this stuff out of here. Like, we're just trying to eat it. Or like, do we know anybody we can like re-gift this to? Because like, it's just like, I'm trying not to like balloon up over the holidays, And so the thing is like, we'll make choices about, maybe what we're going to cook for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. I'm like, okay, well, how can we make this at least a little bit like still delicious, but like a little bit less unhealthy, or like, maybe we want to have pie for Thanksgiving, but we'll go to a place where we can buy just like a half a pie because it's just the two of us, right? Or some places you can go and you can buy like a slice of pie, and all of that gets undone when you come home the last day of work before Christmas vacation, and like your coworkers have given you all of this like awful for you food,
stacks of pies, or cakes or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so. I was going to say Costco, right? We went to Costco yesterday so I could get the lemon juice. I was just pleasantly surprised, I guess. Two things. One, they were selling I don't even know the name of the game, the new Legend of Zelda game, whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. Did you buy it?
No. I still have Breath of the Wild sealed.
Okay.
Sealed.
Oh.
Never even opened. I don't know where... It's funny, my wife and I were talking about that yesterday because I mentioned what you said about how many hours you've already put in.
Mm-hmm.
And she said the same thing I was thinking, like, where does anybody find the time? Like,
I mean, you just fill it in, like fill in the gaps with it. If you want to play something bad enough, you will find the time and you will sacrifice other things to do it.
Oh, well, I don't. Yeah, maybe. But first of all, I don't want to play a Zelda game that bad. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't feel like I have the time for that kind of stuff, but that's fine. That's not a criticism. Like, good for you that you're finding the time to do something that you want to do. But it was just, Costco used to sell a lot of video games. Like, you could go there and be like, oh, there's a nice little video game section over here. And now, at least where I live, like, Costco doesn't sell video games anymore. They'll just sell like the gift cards. For
right.
You get Nintendo eShop cards or PlayStation Store cards, and it'll be like 20% off. So it's a good deal. You get like $100 in store credit for $80. But that's like the substitute for, back in the day, you'd go in there and they'd actually have games. And so when I walked in there and saw like, here's this huge display where they're just selling the new Zelda game for $59.99, by the way, for everybody complaining about the price increase. There you go. But so that was already cool. And then right next to that, first time I've ever walked into a store where I had the option of walking out with a PlayStation 5.
It makes sense. I've heard that like the PS5 is, like the shortages is like officially over, and you can.
Yeah, I mean they had a whole. Places. I mean they just have you just get the card or whatever. They don't have the PS5s, there. but they had a ton of those cards. And it's funny, my wife like looked at the price and was just like, "Oh my god!" Because they're selling, it's a PS5. I don't know. Are there different versions of the PS5? Right? What?
You can only get a bundle probably, where it's like an extra controller, which is like $70 anyways, and probably a game.
I'm not sure about the extra controller, but it had. Is there a new God of War game that came out?
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. It was a God of War PS5 bundle, and it was like $550.
Oh, okay. So that's.
But I don't know how much the PS5 is. I don't know if there's different versions of the PS5. I just don't know. But
is it? I think it might be $500. So that's like
okay, because they had a price.
That's
it was
a $70
like,
game also. So
okay, because they had a price listed of like $600 or maybe a little bit more, and then it was like crossed out, and it's like, oh, special deal. So maybe it did come with an extra controller. Because if it's $500 for the system, and then $60 for the game, and then $70 for a controller. That would be like $630, right? Yeah. And so then that was marked down to $550. That'd be a pretty good deal. But anyway, I just saw that and was like, oh, wow, they got PS5s. And then next to that, this is less remarkable, but it's just like all of a sudden, Costco's got some video game action going on. Next to that, they had OLED switches. Didn't catch the price. Nice. I didn't catch the price on that. I'm not in the market
That's probably
for a new Switch.
$350, I'm guessing. But okay, I mean, was it do you know if it was the Zelda one?
It was not. It looked like it was just the plain Jane OLED Switch. But it was just, I mean, it was nice. You know, I used to go to Costco. You could buy CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays and video games. And like, you know, just because of the nature of how the market has changed, they don't just generally have a lot of that stuff anymore. Yeah. So it was just kind of cool to see all of that. And it was not even Christmas. You know, that's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe during Christmas they'd have more of that kind of stuff. But, you know, it's June, so.
Costco is cool, but, you know, we had a membership for a year, but we let it lapse because we realized, like, every time we were going there, we were spending, like, $600.
Yeah.
On stuff.
That seems excessive, $600.
Yeah, but, I mean, we only went, you know, like 4 times in a year.
Oh,
so
all right.
You know,
yeah. Well, we don't spend that much.
That's just not a place you go. It's like, oh, I got to pick something up really quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we've gotten pretty good. I mean, I think the longer you have a Costco membership and the more it's sort of like the excitement factor wears off, you don't spend as much. I mean, we dropped like $150 there yesterday, but I mean,
okay. So, I mean,
we didn't buy
like
anything.
A typical trip to Target. Like,
yeah, but like we didn't buy anything like silly. Like we bought, you know, food. Like, you know, I got some, you know, fish.
You get paper towels.
Oh, they had Spindrift on sale. Spindrift is already a ridiculous deal at Costco, and then it was $5 off, which is 25% off, and so I got 2. Well, I got 3 actually, but one of them is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fridge in my office that we cram full of Spindrift. But I mean, mostly
I still haven't had it. Target.
Mostly we use but that's the thing. If you buy it at like Target or something, that stuff's really expensive.
Yeah.
But at Costco, it's like for $20 you get a 30 pack. But then right now it's $15 for a 30 pack, so it's a good deal. But mostly we use our Costco membership for gas. That's
okay.
The gas is quite a bit cheaper. Plus you get like 2% back if you pay with your Costco credit card. Right. So, I mean, we get like a check back at the end of every year that more than pays for our Costco membership. And like I said, we don't really go in there and buy that much. Like we don't buy, you know, things like toilet paper and paper towels there, just because I don't have room to store like a Costco amount of toilet paper. But we just got certain things that we're just accustomed to buying there. But the only reason I brought it up, like I said, is I was excited about seeing the video game stuff there.
Yeah, and you know they do have quite a bit of tech stuff there, but it's usually TVs and stuff now.
Well, just like back in the day, you could buy computer parts there. Like you can still buy computers there. Like you can buy Apple computers or Dell computers or a few other things. But you know, like I bought my first hard drive. Well, not my first hard drive I got from my friend's dad, but like my first real usable hard drive because it was 255 megabytes. That was in like 93 or something, or 92 maybe. Anyway, I got that at Costco, but you can't buy that kind of stuff there anymore, you know, for obvious reasons. Although now, at least my Costco, isn't selling SD cards anymore, which is kind of a bummer. Because that's kind of where I was generally buying SD cards.
Yeah, because you can get like the 2-packs and stuff.
Right. There's a 2-pack, and they would sell the micro SD cards with the adapter, which that way you're if you buy one of those, then you have more flexibility.
And
of
usually
what you can use it for.
those 2-packs, they are not the standard speed. They're like the higher speed ones, like the gold ones.
Exactly. So I was disappointed they don't have those anymore. But
that's weird they would do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just out. I never went to Costco until like we got that membership, because growing up there was a Sam's Club by me, but that was it. Which, I mean, they're pretty much interchangeable. And going
they are
to Sam's
not
Club,
interchangeable because Sam's Club has better pizza.
but it doesn't. Costco has those huge hot dogs.
Yeah, but they suck now. Don't even listen. I'm trying to be less negative on the show. I don't want to be like complaining. Like the way Greg was telling me.
The formula or something.
Well, no, but like the way Greg was talking about it. About how like, oh, now you understand like how your parents were. Being angry about everything all the time. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be like Mr. Negativity. So, but if you get me started
What's
talking
the problem
about,
with the hot dogs?
All right. So we started going to Costco when I was in like high school, right? So like like 30 years ago. And Costco hot dogs 30 years ago were $1.50. Same as they are now. 30 years ago.
Yes.
So how do you keep a hot dog $1.50 30 years later? Is like you keep making them crappier and crappier and crappier. So like 30 years ago, so it was a hot dog. So this is my, one of the things that my mother instilled in me, like right from the beginning, because you could go to Costco, you get a hot dog, you get a Polish sausage. And she made sure I understood, like, don't even mess with that hot dog. Like, get the Polish sausage. It's way better. And she was 100% right. But whether you got a hot dog or a Polish sausage, they were Hebrew national brand, which, quality hot dog / Polish sausage, right?
Okay.
And they were delicious. And you could get, they had the 2 different kinds of mustard and the ketchup and the diced onions and the sauerkraut. And then over time, in order to save money, because it was probably already, even in the 90s, it was probably like a loss leader or whatever. They had to ditch the Hebrew National, and then they just had like Kirkland brand hot dogs.
Oh yeah,
Polish
everything
sausages.
is Kirkland.
And they got like demonstrably, noticeably worse when it changed over. Like these are not nearly as good as the Hebrew National. But I still hung in there. Like I would go to Costco. If I'm already at Costco, I'm getting a Polish. I always get the Polish.
Yeah.
And then they moved the sauerkraut behind the counter, so you had to ask for it, and it was like, it didn't come out of the crank thing anymore. But it's like, okay, whatever. And then sometimes you'd ask for it, and it's like, oh, we're out of sauerkraut. Put up a sign, like so that I know not to order in the first place if I can't have the sauerkraut. But whatever. So then you get that, and what was the next thing to go? Then they got rid of the Polish sausages. That was the biggest. If I had one thing I had to say. That was like, the biggest issue was.
Did you consider letting your membership lapse?
No, but like this was their whole reasoning. They're like, well, we want to change up the menu and offer some healthier choices. So we're going to get rid of the Polish sausage because somehow a Polish sausage is unhealthier than the hot dog, right?
And also compared to like the 12 gallons of pretzels you probably are buying.
Yeah, right. So they get rid of the Polish, and immediately when that happened, I was like, ooh, I might be done. Right. I can't, I've been eating this Polish sausage for, at that time, 25 years or something. I don't know if I can do this anymore. And they did, to their credit, add some other stuff to the menu that I guess was healthier. Like you could get and they already had this, but they had like a Caesar salad with chicken on it you could get. But then they had like this weird, this is what happened when they got rid of the Polish sausage, is this other thing appeared on the menu that was some kind of like vegan or vegetarian, like burrito bowl kind of thing. And I tried it once and it was really nasty. And I forgot what else, because like the menu kind of expanded for a little while. Anyway, now in 2023, all that stuff's gone. Even like the salad is gone. The barf bowl is gone. They had like one of those acai bowls. That's gone.
Yeah.
They got
Because
rid
they
of the
realize
combo.
that people only want the hot dogs.
They got
That's
rid
the
of the
only thing that people
combo.
talk about.
Well, no, they got rid of the combination pizza, and that ruffled a lot of feathers. Because now it's just cheese or pepperoni. Now, if you go to Sam's Club, they still have combo, which is better.
Which is like an everything
yeah,
pizza?
like a Supreme.
Like a
or,
Supreme, yeah.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I didn't usually mess around with the pizza there anyway. It's good. I mean, it's fine, but it's like, I was always like, give me my Polish, But so anyway, then they got rid of the deli mustard. Because you used to have like ketchup, and then there was just the regular yellow mustard, which is totally fine. But then there was also sort of this deli mustard, like a Golden's kind of,
like
whatever.
the like the Grey Poupon type.
Well,
stuff.
no,
I mean not like that, not fancy like that.
That's
but,
like a Grey Poupon is like a French. I forgot. That's a Dijon mustard. This is like deli, like brown mustard, deli mustard.
Okay.
So, because here's the thing. What I would always put, it's Polish sausage, deli mustard, onions, sauerkraut. Done. Oh, they also had relish. Sorry, I forgot. They also had relish. I don't mess around.
You don't like relish?
I'm not. I mean, if somebody handed me a hot dog, hey, I got you a hot dog, I had relish on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't put ketchup or relish on my hot dogs if I'm making my own hot dog.
I see.
If it just comes
okay.
with it, that's fine. I'll eat it. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relish is probably my favorite hot dog condiment.
Yeah.
I mean, hot dog condiment.
I don't like relish because it's sweet. Like if I could get like a dill, a savory dill relish, that would be delicious. I'd be all over that. Anyway, so they got rid of the deli mustard, then they got rid of the sauerkraut. So now you go there, you can get a hot dog with ketchup, yellow paint mustard, and sweet relish, and that's it. So I'm just like done. Like it's not. I don't care if it was free. I'm just like, that doesn't sound good. I don't want to eat that. And I don't, again, I'm not like advocating for like, let's make things more expensive, but like they could triple the price of the Costco hot dog and bring the Polish back, bring the other condiments back. And I would 100%, because it's a huge hot dog, right? And a bottomless drink for $4.50 in 2023, that's still a very good deal, at least where I live.
Yeah,
be a screaming deal.
I think so.
But they're just like hanging their hat.
Just like really drink as much as you can. Because a lot of people are getting this stuff either. I mean, I would say the location of it, at least in the Costco that I've been to, the location of the food place is like when you're leaving. People get this stuff when they're leaving. And if they're buying this bottomless drink, there's no chance that they're just like drinking the drink and then refilling it.
Yeah, you might get like one refill and then leave.
Well, what if you like kept the cup and you just came back? Over and over.
I guess you could. Probably nobody's going to say anything, but I mean, I wouldn't do that. So I'm not even like mad about it. It's just like now I don't even, it's like everything else in the world that's getting worse. It's just like I go to Costco, I get whatever I'm going to get, and then I just leave. Like I don't even go there. I don't go to the food court anymore. I think they got rid of the churros. I think I'm not positive about that one. They used to have like cafe freezes and mocha freezes. Those might be gone. They had soft serve ice cream. I think that's gone. But I mean, all that stuff was good. But I just wanted my
serve ice cream.
I love soft serve ice cream.
Yes, I mean,
or frozen yogurt. Both. I'll take either one anytime.
Yes, but I mean, will you take that over like any other like regular ice cream, like scoop ice cream? Will you take soft serve? Because I will take it.
I think so. If I walked into a place like, oh, we have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry regular ice cream, if you'd like a scoop of that in a cup, or we have soft serve and you can get chocolate vanilla swirl.
Yes.
How am I not?
Like a twist.
Yeah. I think I'm going for the soft serve.
Yes. But if they had, 50 flavors or 30 flavors or whatever Baskin Robbins had, 40 flavors.
But it's 31. I feel like part of that is like you can get regular ice cream like anywhere, right? Like you can just go to the store and just buy a tub and put it in your own freezer. But like soft serve, you have to go to a place that has the soft serve machine and you have to consume it like right then. So like if you go to a place where soft serve is available, it would behoove you to take advantage of that.
Yeah. If money was not an option, would you put a soft serve ice cream machine in your house?
That's bad news. Like I would
Speaking of like getting rid of like
I would just get
things that would you just like if you had an ice cream
you got to maintain
like a soft serve ice cream machine in your house, would you make a cup every time, or would you just put your head underneath it and turn it on and have it done?
I would definitely not put. I get brain freeze real easy, so that's like I couldn't just stick my head under there. Like I even thought about like, people who have like kegerators in their house or
Yeah.
like even that's bad news.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what we were talking about. It's like you'd want to just get rid of it. Or,
There's this, I think, I want to say it's Belgium. I apologize to his family if I'm wrong. There was this chemist / physicist, back when the line between the two was a little bit fuzzier, named Niels Bohr. And
Okay.
I think I want to say he discovered like the modern atom, like the way the atom is with the, Anyway, he won the Nobel Prize for that. And his house was next door to a brewery, a fairly famous brewery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he won the Nobel Prize, the brewery installed a tap in this guy's house with the line just running back into the brewery. I'm like, that is like the worst thing that could ever happen to me.
And then he died 2 months later, probably.
I don't know. I would just definitely become an alcoholic at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, sorry, just since I said the thing about I've been meaning to say this for a couple episodes. Just because way back in back in the 20s of episodes, we were talking about Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about Sally Jesse Raphael, and I told the story about how the guy killed the other guy.
Yeah.
And somebody corrected us, either on Twitter or in the comments, I forgot which. That was Jenny Jones, not.
Okay.
So I meant to, I was like, I got to make sure I bring that up in the next episode. But I think the next episode was when I did it with Greg. And then the next episode I wasn't there. And then last week I just forgot. So my apologies to the entire Raphael family. That was
Jenny Jones is the
I get them all
real
confused.
problem here.
Yes.
I mean, they all may as well just be the same person.
Well,
honestly.
kind of. That's how I feel.
Unless unless it's like something you watch every day.
Yeah. What is that? Oh, all right. What? We haven't even gotten to any of the stuff I have written down yet.
I had a couple of things like just I'm gonna save one of them. But
right.
You mentioned the Switch.
Yeah.
Like I applied a screen protector to something yesterday.
Yeah.
And I want to know where are you at like on screen protectors? Like if it's something that a device that has a screen on it.
Yeah.
Will you get a screen protector on it like right away as fast as you can? And also, is there anything less stress or more stressful than like applying a screen protector perfectly?
See, I think I don't use screen protectors as much as I should for the exact reason you just said.
Because it's too stressful.
Like that's why anytime you buy a screen protector, it comes with two of them because they know you're going to F it up. Like, okay, the first one is the one that you're going to screw up and throw away. And I know I've had it happen to me at least once where I screwed them both up.
It's the worst feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. See, it's nice. Like one of my cameras, the one that I don't use anymore, unfortunately, has a screen protector on it because I just took the camera to the camera store and bought the screen protector and had them do it.
Because then they could if they screwed up, then they could just get another one out.
Yeah.
You think?
But they didn't screw it up. So,
yeah.
But I mean, like, I think my Switch has a screen protector on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Like my
I don't have one on my
Pocket.
phone.
Oh, no, I definitely. But the phone's glass. Like, what do you need a screen
it's like
protector
Gorilla
for?
Glass too. So it's like the new version of the iPhone and stuff can handle like pretty serious drops. But also, it's probably like a wrong way to like take that stuff. But if your phone is something that's going to stay with you, and then eventually you're going to get another one.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, I don't feel like I need to like keep it in perfect condition forever.
I'm just also not one of these people. I don't know why, but like I don't drop my phone. Like I have never cracked the screen on a phone or any mobile device in my life.
Mm-hmm. I have not either.
But I see these people I work with
knock
like
on wood right now, right?
Yeah,
that's
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I've never put a screen protector on a phone that I can remember. And I think that camera, I put a screen protector on that camera because it didn't have the flippy screen. And so to me, I just felt like I'm going to have this camera around my neck. Maybe it's going to rub on a zipper on a jacket or what, let's cover that up. Cause plus it's expensive. It's a camera.
Yeah.
But now, these cameras we have now all have flippy screens. So then I don't even worry about putting a screen protector on it. But,
I mean, outside of my phone, I will put screen protectors on anything that I can. I mean, like these Amber Neck devices, like that it came with a screen protector. So I'm like, I'll put that on there.
Yeah. See, I didn't put one on mine, but I just I don't, I have a case for my Amber Neck device. And so I'm either playing it or it's in the case. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Even like the Switch, I'm like, I don't even really know why I put a screen protector. It must have come free, the screen protector, with something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that since most things switched over to the tempered glass, they're a lot easier to get on there now.
Yeah, I think so.
Get on correctly because I have to worry about them being flimsy or anything.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got on that. I just was curious where you're.
Well, I don't know. This might be a big conversation or it might not. I don't know. So. I finished. Well, I guess since the last time we recorded, maybe I started it and finished it. I don't know. The Boku no Natsuyasumi video.
Oh yeah. It gets pretty intense by the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, did it make you emotional a little bit?
Well, that's kind of the funny thing is I feel like we talked about last week the Doom video and the Final Fantasy VI thing. I told you how that made me cripplingly depressed for a couple of days. The Boku no Natsuyasumi video did not at all. Not to say that it wasn't you're going on kind of a ride with that one.
Oh yeah.
But it's I didn't walk away like that. Nothing about that. I enjoyed it very, very much, but I'm saying nothing about that brought up bad memories for myself.
Oh yeah. For sure. It's it's not a bad memory. I just did you just kind of feel that kind of swell when he goes to his teacher's grave at the end?
A little bit. I mean, I didn't, because I kind of was wondering, in the lead up to that, when he's like, oh, I couldn't sleep and I got up and I, went out to do this. I went out to the sunflowers and I was just kind of I kind of saw it coming.
Okay. Yeah. Understandable.
But although that was something that, I could relate to that just because the same thing happened to me where there was a teacher that I had that I really wanted to go talk to. And I looked her up and saw that she had died kind of prematurely. She should have, when I looked her up, it was maybe 10 years after I graduated from high school. And I mean, she was young enough that she should have still been teaching. It's not but she had died of cancer.
Oh, that's awful.
And
did it make you sad, or
it made me really sad because I really wanted to go talk to her and just thank her, for I definitely didn't appreciate what she did for her students when I was when I was in high school. I was just kind of scared of her because I felt like she was a real ball buster, and I realized afterwards it's she wasn't busting our balls at all. She was holding us to a higher standard and letting us know what she expected out of all of us, not in her class, but in our lives, moving on.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing once you're at an age where you can when you can realize that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose. And I wonder how many teachers out there and how regularly it happens to them where they have former students come to them and say, you really made a huge impact in my life, and I just wanted to tell you that. I just wanted to say thank you. I wonder if that happens to every single teacher at some point.
I mean, it must, but it's probably one out of every 500 students or something that you teach that.
And I guess for some people, you got to be a teacher for so long for those kids to grow up and understand and to just make that connection.
Yeah.
Say, oh, this teacher, because in a lot of cases it could be, like grade school, and then you have to wait probably like 20 some years, 25 years before that will even happen.
Yeah. And I mean, at my age, I wonder how many of my teachers are really still alive, because because I can think of it, this was one specific teacher, but I can think of others who, for maybe different reasons than her, also had a, positive impact that, contributed to me getting to where I, wherever it is that I am. But like the two guys I can think of off the top of my head were both already kind of old when I was in their class, and you're talking about 30 years ago. So, they might not even be around anymore.
I follow this Facebook group that lists all faculty, when, if they die, it tells, like they post that somebody has died.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like really sad, but sometimes I'm almost kind of surprised when I see like, oh, I can't believe this person was even still alive this long.
Yeah.
Because I think that when teachers that retired, the same year that I graduated, many of them are still alive.
Yeah.
And, I graduated in 97. So it's just like, that's a long time.
26 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting though that, when he was taking the tour of the school, and he was talking to the principal that was giving him the tour, mentioning the names of his teachers, and that the principal was surprised he could remember. And of course she doesn't know about his memory thing, but she made it seem like she's like, oh, I don't remember the name of any of my elementary school teachers.
Which is crazy to me.
I just thought, really? Like, is that, I don't remember. Like, if I sat down and thought about it, like, there's a couple of teachers whose names I cannot remember right now.
But could you remember every teacher that you had from kindergarten to
their names, or just remember them as people? Like, I can't,
like all the way through, because elementary is, you have one teacher for the entire year.
Yeah.
Could you right now name every single teacher that you had from 1st to 6th grade?
No, but I think maybe only one of them, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But yeah, like my first grade teacher I can remember. Mm-hmm. Second grade teacher, is it second or third? I don't remember. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I remember all of them.
Okay. So it seems crazy to me that
that to me that's what stuck out more.
Wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, right. And like I said, if I sat and thought about it more, I'm sure I could dig out the names that I forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to be surprised that he remembers any of them, I was like, wow, like what has your experience as an educator been like that you think Tim's weird that he remembers people's names? I mean, like, especially when you're in elementary school, like your teacher is like a huge presence. Like you spend as much time in the presence of your teacher as you do your parents.
Yeah. I mean, more really.
Yeah.
They're in those years. They're in elementary years.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, that video as a whole, I think I watched like an hour of it, and then the next day I watched an hour of it, and then I ended up watching the last 4 hours of it in one.
Yeah. Because once it hits that, once he goes, like on his trip, then, it's very easy to get sucked in the whole thing.
Yeah. But I mean, that was, I don't want to be, I don't want to say, oh, that was but that was one of the like greatest things I've ever seen on YouTube. That video, which is interesting just because like, probably like most people watching or listening to this, I had never heard of Boku no Natsuyasumi.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I can't play it because I don't speak Japanese. And of course it's a 6-hour video, which for a lot of people is like, they'd see that and be like, I'm not watching that. Or they would assume this must be some kind of like complete playthrough,
Yeah.
And, it like there was for a time while I was watching it, I one of the things I was just thinking is how bummed I was that I couldn't play the game. You know? Because that's totally the kind of game I would have been into and still would be into. But to be honest, like, I feel like he does, and I don't know if he did this on purpose, but I just feel like by the time that video is over, Not that I wouldn't still like to play it,
You
but
know
I feel
everything
like
about
I
it.
don't feel like I have to, because like he showed you the entire game and like was really able to dissect it in a way that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't feel like I'm missing out by not getting to play it,
Right.
even though I would still like to. Although
Right.
I did end up sticking on my Mister and loading it up.
Yeah, just to
I just wanted to, you know, after watching the video, it's like I just want to be able to walk around in this world and see the things that I saw. You know, even though I can't understand anybody, it's like I was able to get far enough that I could go to bed and wake up the next morning in the game, so that I could leave the yard and go explore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still, you know, even like I said, not being able to talk to anybody, it was still really cool.
Yeah. So just in general, the feeling behind that video is different than the other ones that you have watched and haven't watched yet. You know, because this one was like, you'd consider it like the start of season 2. Because season 1, you know, he's talked about before about how he has like puts on this kind of persona, you know, and some people like it and some people don't. Where in those first videos where he's essentially positioning himself or like you know, conducting himself as someone and some people would say is annoying, as someone who knows everything.
Yeah.
And then this one, you know, it's a bit more heartfelt, and he's like a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Seeming in it, you know, just even the way he delivers, like he speaks, you know, he speaks a bit more naturally.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, you can say the same thing. I mean, the Doom video, he went over a lot of personal stuff, but it's like it never felt like he like broke character.
Yes,
like he was talking about that stuff, but he was still being, you know,
it's someone who knows everything.
Yeah,
everything about related to that game.
Yeah,
you know, every single angle. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to write something like that.
I was just curious, like I just want to know, like, how many words is that script?
Yeah. I mean, I think that for a lot of these, you know, he films these because he does everything on camera. He reads the entire script, I think, almost, unless he has to make some changes in post.
Yeah.
I think he does everything on camera. And like those first ones, like he knew somebody and was filming everything on Red cameras.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. I think he has a friend that has a studio, right? Because he was going to like South Bend, Indiana or something.
Yeah. Which isn't that far from here.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it'd be cool. Like it'd be cool if he was, what was there. And then I could, like, it's like 2 hours away from me.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way he did. I'm sure he knows who you are, you know, I mean.
Oh yeah. He's been on our live stream before.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was on a live stream with him and John Linneman too.
Oh, I see. Because you were making it when you were like saying, "Oh, it'd be my dream to get him on the podcast." I assume.
Well, I think it'd be fun
him.
to just have him on here and talk with him. I mean, I don't think we'd.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying like, no, I'm saying like the way you said it made it seem like, you know, you're trying to get like, I want to get like Harrison Ford on the podcast. Like,
no. I've talked to him.
I've
talked to him quite a bit. Like I know that he. You know, he's been on our live stream with us. Although he was very sick at the time. He was having pericarditis or something like that. Pericarditis is like a heart thing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that we did with John was more fun though.
Yeah.
He played Wild Arms 5.
Oh, all right.
I should find it and I'll link it to you.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd watch either one of them. So the only thing I really want to say specifically about the video to anybody out there is like, you know, again, I just said this, but like, you've probably never heard of the game. You can't play the game. It doesn't really matter. Like you should still, and yes, it's 6 hours. It's broken into chapters that are like an hour long.
Yeah.
Like
and he encourages you to take breaks.
Yes. And I cannot, of everything I've ever recommended anybody watch, like I cannot recommend that video highly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you feel like kind of changed after.
Maybe a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
But that gets us in, that transitions us into the next topic, which is still related to that video. But towards the end of that video, you know, he starts talking a little bit more broadly about the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not an exact quote, but he makes the statement that the original Sony PlayStation is better than any console Nintendo has ever made. And he kind of, I mean, he doesn't just say that and move on. I mean, he kind of backs it up talking about all the stuff that came out on the PlayStation. And like, I know that, like, you know, if you're like, oh, I was born, you know, raised, I'm a Nintendo kid and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, so you're kind of a fanboy and you get your feelings hurt. Like, I can get that. But I think if you really sit down and think about it, I think it's just true. I feel like the Sony PlayStation is like if you took everything that was great about the Genesis and everything that was great about the Super Nintendo and you put them together, that's the original PlayStation.
Yes. Yeah. I you know, I think about that a lot, where I think about when the PlayStation was new. I remember thinking like, oh, I'll never feel the same way about this system as I do about the you know, the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. And you know, just as I get older and older, I just feel like the PS1, I think is maybe like probably the best console of all time.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the Genesis and love the Super Nintendo, I think that the PS1 is probably the best system of all time. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
and I feel like that's a controversial thing to say, but it really shouldn't be.
No, it's not. And you know, and it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to feel that that's not correct, but I mean, if you look at everything, especially when you look at like everything that was released in Japan and like never even came here.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff, there was just like a significantly larger pool of software in general for the PS1 than like anything else like leading up to it, I think. I mean, I wonder what system has the biggest library of all time. Yeah. It would be interesting to see if it has a bigger library, if the PS2.
I was going to guess PS2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that for a fact, though.
It's got to be close, though. It's got to be one of those two systems.
Yeah.
And the thing is on the PS1, I don't think, I mean, there was shovelware, but it was never like an egregious amount of shovelware, I think.
Yeah.
Where,
I mean, any system,
like you look at the Wii, which is just like a lot of crap.
Yeah. Like the only system probably that never had any shovelware was the Super Graphics.
I don't know. I mean, people would probably consider what is it, Battle Ace to be shovelware, but it's not. It's like, I mean, Battle Ace is justified alone by its title screen music.
Yeah.
And it's also got smoke trails when you shoot missiles.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's big to me.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It was nice to hear somebody say it, I guess, you know, because I mean, it's, you know, it's always fun, like, oh, Nintendo 64 sucks, blah, blah, blah. And no, it doesn't. But I mean, it's just like, there's a reason that console generation wasn't even really it was like no competition, you know, and it's just, you know, I think I always think in my head that the 16-bit generation, like that was the greatest time to be a video gamer. But I don't know if if I think about that more, I don't know if that's actually true. Not that it's not awesome.
What about like
it was a great time,
90 to 2000?
Oh yeah, for sure. The 90s. If you're going to pick a decade, yes, the 90s by far. That was the greatest time to be a gamer.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though, I mean, maybe there was like better things that came out after that, but it doesn't matter. Just like that.
Yeah, but it's just like,
like how much things changed and improved over time also.
Yeah.
And the variety of stuff.
I just think like creativity coming out of actual like major game studios was at its peak. Yeah. You know, because it was still cheap enough, you know, cheap in air quotes, cheap enough to make a game that studios could take that kind of risk.
Yes.
That, you know, they can't anymore. And, you know, so thank goodness now we have, you know, independent game studios and whatnot, and we have, digital distribution of games that, makes it cost feasible for small studios to bring out these games, because you're seeing the kind of creativity that major studios just can't even afford to take risks on anymore. But then that kind of got me onto another thing, which is, and I was thinking about this a couple days ago, like how I was complaining about Target, for various reasons. But, one of the big things is like, I go into Target and the video game aisle is just empty.
Yeah.
Right. And they changed everything over to having like this weird contraption that the video games are inside.
They got to open it up and they pull them
Yeah.
out.
It's like you can't pick up a game and look at the box art, because it's inside this.
Oh, so yours
not
doesn't have
mine.
like one in a clamshell that's like on it like a
No, they don't even have
like
that.
a wire?
At mine.
Oh,
no,
interesting.
They used to. Now it's all locked up. Like you can see the front of the box, but if you're like, I want to buy that, somebody has to come unlock it for you.
I see.
But most of those are empty because they just don't have any games. And because I was thinking about, I get all like upsetty about how physical media is going away and everything's digital now. But I was thinking about that, and it's like that doesn't really make sense, because like I play almost exclusively. I play my games sort of digitally or what. I mean, games are already digital, but you know what I'm saying. Like I don't use physical media, even though I have it all that often anymore, because it's just easier. I'm getting the same experience, and so why do I care? If I'm buying a game on my Switch or whatever, if I'm just buying a digital copy, like who cares? But I think for me, a big part of it is I don't miss having the physical game. I miss going to the store to see like what games are out, or what do you got? Mm-hmm. Because like the eShop and the PlayStation store really kind of suck as far as
well, so does the Xbox store. Like it's all just
like there's so much shovelware.
Yeah.
That like obviously you can go and say, okay, what are the top selling games? And you can look at those. Great. Right. Mm-hmm. But like I know what the top selling games are. I don't need to see a list of that. But like what are like some cool indie games that have come out, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, if you had gone to like electronics boutique in the early 90s and seen a Genesis game that like Sage's Creation or somebody had published. And like, maybe you wouldn't have known about that. Like, oh, that's neat. What's that all about? But, these days, like all these great independent games that I was talking about they get lost in a sea of shovelware, so that like you have to be able to go to some other website to get like recommendations of like, okay, well, what are some games I should go into the eShop and pick up? Because there's not really a way to just like, well, no, I just want to turn on my Switch and just browse the eShop. And at least that I've seen, there's not really a way to
like hentai games.
Yeah, it's not a good way to discover games. It's like you go there knowing what you want so that you can type it into the search bar and buy it. Like, great.
Yeah.
But
well, I think at one point the eShop was probably okay, but now there's just so much stuff on there that it can't be controlled. Even if they tried to control it, I don't think that they could wrangle it back in at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to blame.
The only way to do it is to like start over fresh.
I'm not trying to blame them, or I'm not trying to blame anybody, really. I'm just saying it's just sort of the nature of the situation. And I think that when I think about, the lack of physical media, that's more of what bums me out, is just like, yes, I would have just bought the game physically if I saw it, but it's just part of it is just going and like, oh, let's see what do they got out on the shelves this week,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just nice to see all those boxes. I mean, that's why everyone thinks about, even though you couldn't look at the box itself, like going to Toys R Us, you'd have those cards you could look at.
Yeah.
And it's just something about seeing all of those boxes right there, and like what, and I guess having the ability to say, oh, what's this game? I'm going to like look up this video of it right now, and that takes away a lot of the excitement and surprise when you get something that's good. That was like the cool part about going and renting something.
Yeah.
I see, they have these subscription services where you can rent or you can buy, or you pay for a year and you get like this whole bunch of downloads. You can download like Game Pass or something like that. You can download all these games.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that they never had. I mean, did they ever have like a rental where you could like buy a game for a weekend or something like that? You pay like $5 and you could download a game for a weekend and it would expire and lock you out.
I mean, I don't recall ever seeing that, but I don't mess around with modern games that much.
Yeah, I don't.
Does anybody do? You know what would be a good idea?
It feels like it happened, but I don't think it did.
Yeah. Does anybody do anything like this? Because this would be a good idea. So I imagine it already exists.
Okay.
Like, is there any kind of service that you can pay for? Like what if you said, I'm going to pay like $20 a month. I'm making that number up. $20 a month, whatever the price is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to get sent download codes. Like every month, it's like, okay, you pay $20 a month or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, this month, these are the 3, digital indie games, whatever, for this month. And you would just get in your email. It's like a curated, like as a way of discovering, because I know they do that. Like, you can pay, for like I don't know what it's called, but you can pay some amount of money every month and somebody sends you like a physical box full of like retro games. Like, is there something like that for like modern, digital only, like indie games? Like,
well, not for indie games, but I think just in general, they have the, like both Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus give you 3 games every month.
No, I get that, but they're giving you like a lot of those are like AAA titles, and that's being done by Sony or by Microsoft. I'm talking about like a third party where it was like, here's just a group of guys or whoever who's like, passionate about, games and maybe more so about the more unique indie titles coming out where, they would set up this business where they go buy a bunch of download codes. Mm-hmm. And then they send them out. And I'm saying everybody every month would get the same games. It's like, these are the 3 games for this month.
Right.
And so you would just get an email or whatever and like, oh, here's your, indie box games.
Your
and that way,
indie box.
And then that way, like everybody that was subscribed to the service was playing the same 3, I'm saying 3 games, but whatever, every month. And that way you could talk about them, like in Discord or on Reddit or wherever. Like, oh yeah, I really like this one game or that one, not so much. Like,
I think that would be really cool, but I think the challenge is that there's just like so many games now that I can't imagine people being like, I'm going to pay $20 to get these 3 games when I know that they're going to go on sale for like less than $5 in 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm making up the number, but I'm saying, to me, the whole point of that service is like, for someone like me who's just like, I don't know, there's too much stuff out there, I need help picking. Like, if somebody was sort of curate, like, okay, there's that Vinyl Me Please. You know about Vinyl Me Please?
No, sounds kind of dirty though.
Yeah, it's awful, but that would be Latex Me Please would be dirty. I just want you to dip me in latex. No, it's like you sign up for the service where you get sent records every month, but they're all new. It's like this company is pressing the records and then sending them out to you. And so you could say the same argument you just made about why my idea maybe wouldn't necessarily work. I think you could say that about Vinyl Me Please, but this way it's cheaper because like you're not having to set up a company. Like, there's not really that much of a cost of entry if somebody wanted to set up something like this. Because you just know, okay, I have 100 subscribers. I have to buy 100 download codes of each game.
Yeah.
And then send them out. So there's not upfront cost. Maybe it's a stupid idea. I'm not saying, like, oh, no, I'm a genius. But I'm saying, like, someone like me, like, I would sign up for that.
Yeah.
Because I just need somebody to kind of help. Yeah, help me out. Like, give me a sort of a curated little handful of games every month.
Like, of interesting games. And some stuff, right, like, you don't feel like you need to go and, like, research it beforehand. It's kind of like you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
I was thinking about that more just because, like, not to keep bringing him up, but I was watching one of Tim Rogers' old Kotaku videos where he had purchased, and I have one of these too. Probably you have one too. Like, Coury made that D-pad for the Switch, where like you take the left Joy-Con off and you put this on, and it's a proper D-pad.
Okay.
Well, you should get one. They're cool. But it's only for playing the Switch in handheld mode because this thing doesn't have a battery in it, right? So you can't You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he made this list of like, here's 25 games that would benefit from this device. Like 25 games that he thinks are cool that do not use the analog sticks at all.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so and it was almost all independent. It was like Sonic Mania, that's not independent. And then it was the Neo Geo collection. That's not, but everything, most of it was like these indie, just digital download games. And I had never heard of most of them. And admittedly, you know, I'm about as out of touch as it gets when it comes to modern games, but I'm not saying that like I'm proud of it. Like I don't want to be out of touch, but I don't have but I don't have time to spend on a website like Kotaku or wherever else just reading about like everything that's going on. And so like if somebody were like, okay, here's, you know, 3 games every month or whatever, so that I can like kind of keep up to date with some of the goings on, you know, with modern indie gaming, I think that would just be really cool.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking for stuff like that, about a year and a half ago, we did a video on our channel that was, it was like a ton of games that you could play with the Switch Online controllers. Like, so you could play with like a Genesis 6 button Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. Like it goes through like a ton of different games, like, you know, games that would feel like it's cool, like saying, hey, I want to play Sonic Mania with, you know, like a Genesis controller.
Yeah.
You know, it goes through a lot of that stuff. Like you should check that out if you've never seen it. It's
all right.
It's like 2 hours long, but
yeah,
I think it covers it's like 120 games or something like that.
But see, I'm going to watch the video. That sounds like an awesome video. But saying that's part of the issue is that I don't, you know, it's like this Tim Rogers video I watched. It's like 25 games, and it's like I wish that I had known about those games when they came out, because now it's just like, hey, here's a buttload of games that are all good.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like if I was just keeping up with the times, then, you know, the week that game came out, I would have played it that week, and then the next week I'd have been playing something else. You know. And
I think the big thing is like you want to be able to play it when other people are playing it for the first time too.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. To like and have a place to talk about it.
Right. Like talk about it here or talk about it on the YouTube show, or, you know, like, oh, hey, this game came out last week, you know.
I mean, we could do something like that on this podcast where we maybe pick a game that we neither of us like really know anything about, and we both either play it that week or we play through it short like little by little, and we kind of just talk about it as we advance through the game.
I would be 100% down with that.
It's almost like a game club, but with like 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that'd be fun.
But we would have to say beforehand what the game was going to be, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that,
and then people could do it at the same time.
Listeners could also play it beforehand, and then I'd be definitely down for that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. And we can just discuss, you know, our thoughts and feelings of it, like as we advance through it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it's something that would need to be like story focused or not story focused, so that we don't want to like ruin anything for anybody either.
I mean, I just wouldn't even worry about details to that. It's just like if some cool game came out that we both wanted to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we could do that. I think that'd be fun.
Let's work on that. So next thing, I got my, this is predictable, but, you know, last week I got my Vita out, you know, charged it up, played some Vita. Still playing the Vita, playing some, you know, Hot Shots still. But, you know, on the back of that, I went ahead and got my PSP out, and
the PSP.
Yes, and plug that in. Same situation. Battery was completely toast. You know, like
you got to make sure, like the PSP, you got to make sure that the batteries are not bulging. A lot of the batteries are bulging on the
all right.
PSP
I'll go.
batteries.
I didn't feel anything, but I didn't specifically check, so I'll go check it out. But so I charged up the PSP. I had to put in the date and time and everything. But first time I played PSP in quite some time.
It's good.
And yeah, you know, it's just like, because I said something last week, you know, about how like, well, you know, the Vita hardware is like clearly superior. And like, yes, the Vita hardware, you got, you know, twice as much resolution in the screen and more powerful, right?
Yeah.
But especially because my PSP, like I got a PSP at launch, but I don't have that one anymore. You know, like that's gone.
So you have like a 2000 or 3000, like one of the more classic-y kind.
I have a 3000.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, like the way the drive opens, that's a little bit hokey or whatever. But I mean, just in general, just how light it is.
Yeah.
The screen is like, that's not an OLED screen, right? That's too old to be an
No.
OLED screen.
Yeah.
But I mean, the screen in that thing is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But the D-pad and the buttons also both, to me, feel considerably better than the Vita. It feels more like an actual game controller instead of just being a little clicky, which is fine. I don't have a problem with the Vita controls.
The Vita, like the buttons are like clicky, like they're like micro switch or whatever.
Right.
It like style.
Yeah, it's rubber dome, right? In the PSP is rubber dome.
Yeah.
Like a control. But anyway, so I got that out and was playing it, and I was just like, man, like.
What were you playing? Hot Shots Golf Open T?
No, so it's fun. It's funny because I went through and like thinned out my PSP games, and I actually got rid of that game. I couldn't believe it.
Oh.
So I went on eBay and bought a new copy. So not a new copy. Although
you
it's funny because you can
get
buy
that
a
for cheap.
brand new sealed copy of that game on eBay for like $10. But
Yes.
I got a used one. No, I was playing. So when I got my PSP at launch, I got it with that game Luminous. Is that how you say it? Luminous?
Yeah, Luminous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I always, for a long time, I called it Lumines.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, that's Luminous, I think.
I guess. I don't really know. But anyway, that's the game I spent the most time playing. That's still such a good game. Oh, my God.
Yeah. You should play the Ease games on there.
Well, so the only one I have E7.
But that's a good one.
Because I haven't played it yet. So what happened was, like, I think this was right before I got my Vita. You could pick up brand new PSP games on Amazon for like nothing.
Right.
And because I bought like some RPGs that, that's when I got E7. I got that Jeanne d'Arc game. I got like Ogre. Was it Ogre Tactics?
Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together.
Let us cling together. I got Legend of Heroes 2 because I'd only ever played and beaten Legend of Heroes 1. And I think I bought Persona 3, but then I think I must have gotten rid of it because I don't have it anymore. But
you sold it to me. I bought it from you.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Good. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, so I have a Breath of Fire 3. I have that one.
Oh, so you imported that one?
Yeah,
that was only available on import.
I think I might have gotten that one off of like Play Asia or something. But anyway, like I never played Crisis Core. I don't know why. Like looking back at it now, I don't know what I was doing not playing that game. But so I went on eBay and I got it's crazy how cheap most PSP games are. I mean, some of these some of these RPGs are not cheap. Some of the Ease games are not cheap, but most PSP games, I was shocked at. I mean, I'm not shocked that Hot Shots Golf was $5. That makes sense. But like, you can get copies of Crisis Core, which is considered one of the best games on the system.
Yeah.
You can get that game all day on eBay for $20, like a nice copy.
Right.
Not sealed, I'm saying a nice
the reason for that, though.
No, I don't know. Is there just
because it got a remaster that came out like 2 months ago or 3 months ago.
Oh,
late
I saw
last
that,
year on new systems. And you can get that for $40 and it's much more playable.
Well, I thought it'd be cool to have the original PSP game, but I don't know. I'm not going anywhere else with that. I just like,
The
PSP
is pretty
man,
cool.
Like it's such a, I mean, I thought the same thing back then, and I was thinking more about, the greatness of the PlayStation and how it was because of the creativity. There was still a lot of that going on with the PSP, which, by the time the PSP came out, I mean, the PS2 had already been out for a number of years, but,
right. That's what's cool about the PSP is it's this hardware that feels like it's right in between the PS2 and the PS1.
But it also just, to me, it really feels like a portable PlayStation as far as like the game selection goes.
Yeah.
In a way that, like I said last time, the Vita, not saying, the Vita has a nice library. It's just not for me. Like, I don't feel like the Vita is, a portable version of anything I wanted to play as much. Whereas, like, if you were a PlayStation and PlayStation 2 fan, the PSP was just going to be right up your alley.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I just got a text message from my wife. Like, have you been following these this Canadian wildfires?
Yeah, well, only because there's somebody in my Discord who lives up in Ontario, and he had mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was out yesterday, I was like, "Holy cow!" Like it's like kind of hazy. I can't see very far. Like I can't see Cincinnati from like normally. And I'm like, I didn't even connect that it was like they would be hitting like the haziness would be here.
Yeah, it's crazy how far the smoke travels.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
what
mean,
we've
she
been
just sent me this
dealing
picture
with
that
out
like
here.
a friend of hers like shared. I think it's New York, and it's like you can't see like anything. It looks like
Wow.
it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if I can do it or anything. I don't know if it's gonna work or not.
No,
But
it
look at
works.
that.
Yeah, it's just brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, we've been having our problems with wildfires here,
Oh, yeah.
previous years, but I don't remember ever not being able to see, like that person shouldn't even be standing there. That's extraordinarily bad for your health.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, so earlier, you had gotten like an alert
Mm-hmm.
that somebody was at your front door.
Yes.
And that kind of reminded me of something else I want to bring up.
Okay.
Like, I'm curious your opinion on this. Do you, if somebody rings your doorbell, like, do you have a policy on that? Like, are you just, maybe you have like a camera, but I'm saying like somebody rings your doorbell, whether you have to look through a window or if you have like one of those ring things or something.
Yeah.
It's not somebody you know. It's not somebody wearing like a, FedEx, UPS, DHL, post office uniform. Are you opening the door?
Yeah. I mean, I will basically run upstairs and kind of look. I mean, I think that I maybe had more of a luxury of like not opening the door before I had a dog. My dog just gets so crazy. Like if somebody's there, she's just like running around and barking. And I mean, I can pretend like there's nobody there. There's been times where I've pretended I'm not here, like if I'm in the middle of something. But
Oh, I mean, I
generally,
don't care
I
if
will open the door and just.
I don't care if the person knows I'm home. I mean, my wife and I just kind of have it's not literally a policy, but like we just don't open the door. Like if it's not, because we have a window right in front of our front door, like I can see.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it's not somebody I know or like a delivery person or, AT&T,
Or someone you're
PG&E,
expecting.
yeah, I just don't, because we have like a no soliciting sign that works a lot of the time, but not all the time.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that makes me like weird, like am I getting old and weird and I don't open the door. But it's the same thing about how like nobody answers their phone anymore unless it literally like, oh, it's Coury calling me. Of course I'm answering the phone if you call. But I'm saying if it's like a number I don't recognize, like that's going to voicemail. And so for the same reason, I don't answer the door. And so what happened, the reason I'm bringing this up is, the other day was my birthday. And somebody comes and knocks on my door and I look outside and it's like, I have no idea who that person is. They're holding a bag in their hand, but I'm like, I didn't order anything. And like the guy, like after nobody was answering the door, he took his phone out and he's looking at it. And I'm like, this seems like somebody who's just lost. Like somebody ordered DoorDash and he's lost. And so like, I just never answered the door and the guy kind of wasn't leaving. And so I'm like, all right, well, maybe he's lost. So I went around, like I don't normally open my front door just as I'm paranoid about my cat running out. So I went out my back door and then walked around the house because I was just going to go talk to him like, hey man, do you need help finding something? And by that time he was already kind of getting into his car and whatever bag he had, he was still carrying it. And I was like, well, maybe he figured it out. I'm not going to worry about it. And then the next morning, so the day after my birthday, a friend of mine who used to live here, like in my neighborhood, who now lives on the other side of the country, texts me and he's like, oh, hey, happy birthday. And I was kind of like, that's weird because my birthday was, I didn't say this to him. I'm like, my birthday was yesterday. Like, I don't know. It seemed odd to me that he was texting me the next day. Not that I was bothered by it, but I'm like, that's weird. And then I realized why is because he's like, oh, did you get anything delivered to your house yesterday? And I was like, oh no. And I'm like, and I kind of told him what happened. And I said, and he said, well, whatever. He said, it should still be on your front porch. And I said, no, the guy took it with him, but I said, I'll go double check. And because it's funny because at one point I saw the guy, like it seemed like he had taken the bag and hung it on my doorknob, but then took it and left. And so after what he told me, because I thought like, so the guy stole it then. Like, did he put it on my doorknob and take a picture and then take it and leave? Like, so I felt bad. I told my friend what happened. And then when he finally answered me, it kind of made more sense. So he had ordered me a beer via DoorDash.
Oh.
And I was like, I felt really bad. I'm like, oh man, but it's just like, I had no, like, he should have told me, like, I had no idea, you know? Cause part of it is I get paranoid just cause of my YouTube show or something. I don't want some rando, like looking up my home address and like sending me something, you know? And I could totally see that happening, you know, like just something happening that would kind of creep me out. But then I was thinking, like, if it was a beer, you know, maybe he can't, the delivery driver, I'm saying, like, can you just leave a beer on somebody's front porch? That seems illegal. So like, did he steal it or did he have to take it?
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise you'd have underage people.
Did he take it home and drink it?
Well, I mean, if he can't leave it with me, he might as well.
To the next
like,
delivery?
I wouldn't be mad if he did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he put it on the handle and then he ended up taking it, like, obviously, like, he didn't know what he was supposed to do either. He was confused. He was thinking about it.
Like, how many times has that happened to him where somebody ordered alcohol and then didn't answer their door? That may have been his first time. But I'm saying, like, I could totally see where, like, you're not allowed to just leave alcohol unattended on somebody's front door. Because otherwise, like, you'd have high school kids ordering beer and then just not answering the door.
Yes.
But then it just made me feel like, am I weird because I don't answer?
And that's probably why. That's probably it. That's probably the reason.
Yeah.
Well, so he ended up just like losing that money.
Yeah, I felt bad. I mean, it was only a few bucks, I guess, but I still felt bad. It was a very nice gesture.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, nah, I just didn't want to answer the door.
Yeah.
So this is the last thing I got. This is a quick one. This is more of a PSA. It's not even really for you, although it'll apply to you. It's for everybody out there. A PSA, public service announcement. So yesterday, my wife and I were both home, and all of a sudden, randomly, the Wi-Fi in my house stops working. You know, like like on your iPad or something, the little Wi-Fi, wifi, if you're from Europe, symbol goes out of the spot up there at the top, you know. And then like my wife, like I have the computer that I'm talking to you on right now, it's like hardwired into the router, but this is the only computer in the house that's hardwired in. But so the Wi-Fi just completely quits working throughout the house. My wife's trying to work from home, so she needs the internet access. She's like, oh, is your Wi-Fi out? And I was like, yeah. And you know, I tried resetting the router. That didn't do anything. And since this computer is plugged in hardwired to the router, I was able to, like, you know, connect to the router's front end or whatever.
Yeah, and see what's
to
going
kind
on.
of see what was going on. And I don't want to turn this into a long story, but you know, we upgraded our home internet to fiber a couple of years ago, and so we got a new route. You have to get a new router, right? You have a router that can take fiber. And when the AT&T guy installed it, instead of just using the SSID and the password that's default for the new router, he had asked me, do you want me to, like, you know, take your SSID and password out of your old router and transfer it over so that way, you know, all your stuff will keep working without you. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. You know? And so he did that. And so apparently what happened yesterday, from what I researched, I was able to do online, is because I logged into the router, like I said, from this computer, and I noticed the SSID was different. Like it had changed.
Oh, did it like update a firmware or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I read, is like, oh, AT&T must have pushed out a firmware update.
Yeah.
And it resets your router to the factory setting. So it went back to its original SSID. So I was able to figure that out quickly. But so anybody out there, if all of a sudden your Wi-Fi quits working and your SSID changes, that's why. So all I had to do was log in there and just change it back. But it's just strange because there was no warning. Like, wouldn't you think AT&T would send out an email? Hey, just so you know, we're going to update the firmwares.
Yeah. I mean, I use my own router just so I have more control over it, I guess.
So you can do that. Like, you have a router that has a fiber input on it.
So there's a hub that the fiber goes into, and then out of that comes a Ethernet cable, and I run that into a router.
But where did you get the hub? Is that from your provider?
Yes, it's just like the fiber line goes into it, and it's not even like an Ethernet.
So you're
cable.
just basically saying, if I had the thing that I have now, if I used that, but then had a separate Wi-Fi router that I hardwired into the thing I have now, and then that way I would be in full control of my home Wi-Fi. Is that what you're?
Well, so the from the outside, the fiber comes in and it goes into the house and it goes into this box.
Yeah.
Which is like, like above like right above me, basically. It's hardwired into that. But it has an output from that box.
Yeah.
That is a Ethernet. So I can run that into a router.
That's what I just said.
And then I control all that. Yes.
Yes. I'm saying that's what I had, because my box is a Wi-Fi router that you don't have to use, but it also has like 4 Ethernet outputs on the back. So I'm saying I could do exactly what you just said.
Yes.
I've just never felt
they probably charge you every month for the rental of having that too.
They might, I don't know.
And if you just use your own, then you save yourself a couple bucks.
Yeah.
And people will go out and buy their own modems too, but you can't do that with fiber.
Yeah. All right, that's it. That was the last thing.
That's the last thing.
Well, it's like I could keep going, but it's like we're at almost 2 hours, so it's probably time to stop,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to. If you had something else you want to talk about, please feel free.
No, I have like a good discussion for next time.
All right. All right. Well, then that's it. That was episode 32 of Here's My Question.
Oh, is this 32? For some reason, I thought it was 30. It is. Yes, it's 32.
Yeah, because 31 was the Baskin Robbins episode last week.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know what 32.
32.
Be. I mean, are we going to do this forever? We're going to try and find out what is the.
Well, I just think it's funnier when I can say it's episode whatever, and then it's the blah 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 episode. I like like Greg was on the Great Depression episode. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah. It was 29, right?
Yeah. And then some of it's like esoteric. Like next week will be episode 33, and I can think of athletes with that number. Like the Chris Draper episode, and everybody's gonna be like, "Who the heck is Chris Draper?"
There's the Smashing Pumpkins song 33 also.
There you go. Well, I'm on a temporary. I'm not listening to the Smashing Pumpkins anymore. But we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, we'll see it I guess everyone will hear us next time.
Yeah. Have a good week, everybody. That's what you always say. Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah, I hope that this week treats you right.
Yeah.
Don't get into any trouble.
Please don't.